Kakio Scott. Now, if you're just tuning in, we're just waiting for Saul to get started here. I think the stream is going. He's just going to get fired up in a few minutes.
Danse, gewicht da Vinci. Can, can you hear me? Danse mega. Gewicht da Vinci. Chat, chat, chat. Where's the chat? Oh boy. Okay. I see live activity, current viewers. There's no current viewers according to what I see here. So I see comments, no comments. What are you talking about on chat? Where's the chat? I don't see the chat. Some of you are talking to me on Messenger, so I appreciate that. But I'm trying to see the chat here. Let's see, insights, post details. It's absolutely crazy. Aaron, do you know where the chat is on Facebook Live? Ah, comments. Now I see them. Okay. Good, good, good. Okay, when I scroll up, can you see me? I'm going to wait a few minutes before I start to make sure that we have something going on. Dance, dance. Okay, dance. Okay, I see this. I see it. Yeah, I can see it now. It's all right. I can see the chats. So, but I'm not going to be able to respond to them yet. Okay. Hello, Ramona. Hello, Tia. And in to you. Hello, Sean. Hey, dance again. Dance, Denise. Dance, Veronique. Dance, Shannon. And Tia. Dance, DJ. See you and I hear you. Okay. Live chat at the bottom, maybe. I see the live chat. Yeah, we can see you. Okay, I can see that, son. I can see. When I scroll down, can you see me? This is really weird. Okay, in about 5 minutes. I guess we don't have the option for you guys to talk, is there? Unfortunately, I was going to get you, some of you guys, to tell me where you are from in Cree and what your name is. And hang on, I'm going to put on, make some tea for myself here. Pour some tea. Did you hear about the old Indian who drowned in his own teepee? Ha! I'm going to do two things here. I looked and looked and looked and looked around for a Cree story on the solstice, and the closest I came to was something from this book, Sacred Legends, by Carl Ray and John R. Stevens, and they collected stories from northern Ontario, from Ramona's area, pretty well, north of Thunder Bay. And this was published in Thunder Bay, as a matter of fact. And there's a story here about the Battle of the Four Winds. And initially, I'm going to read this story, anyway, because that's the first time I've ever seen this story, and the first time I've ever translated the story. And this is part of the things I do. Is there's been a lot of collections of our Cree stories in ethnological collections and folklore collections, but very few of them are done in Cree. So what I've been doing is I've been taking those stories and translating them into Cree, and I've had a lot of fun doing that. So I'm going to do this, Neil, this story about Battle of the Four Winds, because it's the closest we have to a story about the solstice. Okay, so bear with me, and I won't be able to see the comments as we go along, and I can't hear you talk, but I'll go back to the comments later when I'm done. So I'm going to read the story, because I haven't memorized it yet. I just wrote it this afternoon. Neo Dotna, Newton Duck. Kayas, Mitune Kayas. Yagna Bilgi Puatam, Ima Muscat Danadek Tigway. Muchi Spega Gini Tawigan Uniso Chima, Unosu Chima. Kipuatam Miscutiu, a Chaco Wagana, Hipigu Agot. You wish to me a good spiniso, it had to Punisu, Uniso Chima, Unisu Chima. Kita Pigi Yogi, Neo, Lutna. Kita Nisuanache Higua, Kisuniga, Quayachiche. Wish to me go get the Watika Nikit. Migo Apik, Ita, a Siskiwi, Kutawanabis, Kita Pushitat. You could take that castle that we were, you go to us, Missa. It's been take about Tawi, Neo, Lutna. That was Sunday, Mamscat, Watam, Winoma. You could feel, ma'am, that they could pull your piece of Magami. Swimana got tippy book, he had it that Takayag. You could feel me again, you go good news, Uchiwak. This was scarce, but he got Kikoyachi or Nabu. Kiwati kill, me go epic. He got us the skiwi. Good to one have a ski you see now. I speak tips coming to us when he's Uchima. You could do what they can, Ki, Kasuhi, we were, you got to us, Missa. Me cheat me chewing, you got me that he got a gear star, kill the star. He could take that, but speed it. Mother Samkin, no, you speak at the go, but got the go, but again, don't know. Nigan kiwitin. He be that give the week. He got a Yakochi, that boogie guy. Met don't at the Miss Comey with Miss Sui, me go epic. You got our nabil, he had to go aquachet. Kiam, Bugay the go Mr. Tapunak. Kiabicha aquacho. Kigach, ye nipahasket in the pahasket. Kidat the way be to the wit. Back some of the gasket tips scowy beat that. Met in a bit say me go epic. He gasket dip a skag. Kiam at Mr. gaba punakawa nabiu. Heguse nisukama duak jiwitin nigo bagsimadoten wohunabiwa. E wa scow with Egypt, itakani boat, nabiu. Higwe ni sonaji hachak. Kita tawi sawan na doten gat tagusik. Ba puta te giwit no. Gistuwe de thiwe noche. Me done at dekisot. Miss komi. Migo ahbek. Higomina giwitin at dekisot. Higo sawan doten maskawi seed. Higomina wapen in the witten tagusin. Imasi hat backsimon dotna. Has got kissgau, has got tipsgau. Speak I masi to Chicago. Backsimon doten, they got weapon doten. But the niggin, where's my say to work? Who got dotna? Yet the niece dosage. But the neggy gas kiwitten, he makes the dekisut. You want it? It do sawan doten. It do sawan doten, give it na. The more that we can't get time, get them out, so it's a no task. He come out, he come, mammy, it's got a mathematics snow da, a skick. Give it, nanam misquedo. He deep the much. He got a wiki wheel. But yeah, have a chug back some of the Loten, he got weapon Loten. Massy hit to work, be the sneeze to work. Oh, he got the gawk, he do, weapon Loten. He come. Mammy's got a back and make snow does kick. It will. Baximon Loten, Nimisquido, it be the much. It could spell, Capi, Mammy's got a spita skiwick. You got me enough. Gammammy's got a geese, you got Gammammy's got a tibiskag. He Mammy's got a tuta wow, Macamic swin wawa. His big amouche, Kino tipskag, you got me enough. Gamauche. He's got 2% of that, understood? Okay. A long time ago, quite a long time ago, a man had a strange dream. Just when his twins were born, he dreamed that a spirit of fire had come to visit, telling him when his twins had reached their second birthday, the four winds will come visit. They will destroy them if he does not prepare for the event. A spirit of fire tells him to make a cellar where he is to make a fireplace. It is there that he is to hide his wife and children when the four winds arrive. It is indeed a strange dream. It was during the time of the hoarfrost moon when winter begins and it starts getting cold when the twins were born. 2 years come about and the man had made preparations. He had made a cellar in his lodge and put in a fireplace. When the twins had their second birthday, the man had sent his wife down to the cellar to hide. He provided a lot of food and firewood. In that way, they will be safe. It wasn't long before the winds arrived. First came the north wind, bringing a cold wind and freezing everything. Everything inside the teepee were covered in ice, and the man began to freeze, even though he constantly put logs on the fire. He almost froze to death. Eventually, the west wind blew inside, bringing with it darkness. It was very dark inside the lodge, no matter how much firewood the man put into the fire. North wind and west wind ganged up on the man, swirling all around him where he stood, trying to destroy him. Suddenly, the south wind arrived. He blew on the north wind with his warm breath, so much so that the ice inside the lodge began to thaw, and the north wind as well began to thaw. So powerful was the south wind. The east wind arrived immediately after the south wind, bringing with it daylight to lighten the lodge. He wrestled with west wind, so the lodge was dark, then light, then dark again, continuing as they wrestled with each other. These winds wrestled with each other for a long time. They began to get tired. The north wind was almost completely thawed. "That's enough," said the south wind to the north wind. "You will never again have the power that you once had here on earth. We will take turns in our activities here." North wind nodded, agreeing, and he went away on his way home. And still west wind and east wind wrestled on. Eventually they too got tired to carry on. "Okay, that's enough," said the east wind. "We will take turns with our activities here on earth," he said. West wind nods in agreement. From then on, the season takes turns to be active on earth, and the day and night also agree to take turns. They take turns in their activities when the longest night comes and when winter solstice, that is winter solstice, and when the longest days come in summer solstice. That is from Sacred Legends by Carl Ray and James R. Stevens. I adapted it a bit, but for the most part, I kept it as the story was done. Okay, now that's the only thing I'm going to read. I am going to tell a story. I got one of my friends to choose stories, but she didn't, so I didn't. So I chose myself. So what I'm going to do is tell a story of the flood to begin with. No. Keep up naughty with Sahi Jackin, don't know what. We see me, sir. He can now, I can tell me. He gave one who that to one, he can say, and don't know what. The Bam did. I get that to go up, Matt. Make a saw. What they can like, he built. Kitchen Mac, he built. Hey, see me. You all make it that after man. Oh, you do more. Mr. Cook, you up my wall. Water. I kick up him to a check. My canayan. Hey, scared it. My we sack it. See me so I say again the behemit. You know, I think those so as a nigga. At the Pegasimo, Minister Cook is. And you go say it's a Pegasimo. You got the guy missagat. You got the mistake. See who. Perhaps go to the mistake. Yeah. Game mot tak make a story say Jack. No da ki ko kan no up match you the mystic with us move the way cast. You would take you what me work. Oh the mystic and sit the mama. He took me guest. Oh mistake did it. I got the biscade go some more go ask go. You got that. There you go. We sack it Jack. Go we sack it Jack is but Gawin happy is we bel hod ga man ta ka ma to aki ko ina ni pa tan mi ki ga chi mi chat ni ga me na o ta o ga ma wa ku to che ya ga ni ta ka mi ma ga ba ma ga ni ga to che te si pu ti hi ti de ta ki ni pa ya ga ni o ki si na so ni ta si pu ti ga wi en to pa mo ti ho tin to pa mo ti ni ga me na pa mo ti kita tevi kawa mat adiksa toinen natto voi huijaan toinen natto voi huijaan toi huijaan ja tyti sava dikas ei kuaskuutet hinna toinen natto voi huijaan ei nokko dan som heitä ka mikä siin ei os tuolla kustaa toita ja toinen natto voi hakava kiskimena so mutta kun sä liikaa ne pahat niin tappu kun ne kakas yhtään tänne ja tau ihan kauan mä as että oota näpiva no kun smän käyttää kemissä ensi viikana näette voi hyvin sitten se hitsäkin ensi toi näpetis ja niin se kautta maat vaadikas käyttää kemissä viikana näette voi hyvin mä jämäkään nuista muat ja kun takana pähkämät, puhut hänkin se sähkösäkin nyt pähät, joka pähkö niu, joka jätte kekiskak, liikojan nykyttä muista, eikä myöskin muista pähkönä, joka nuista eikä toi sähkösäkin se voi kasvutu. Niin toinen näyttää huijaa, niin toinen näyttää huijaa, niin toinen näyttää huijaa. Ei spelt, tiedä, että ehkä kaikkea jäätsäk, niin kuin tänne mä niitä vaan oikein mä kiskimena so ninga san ka wada wi sahat bugaw ya wi sakit jak hos wada wi ina ta wi ano ma sa bu kita pieguan ane ka kedo wada wi go kuto ke ko kuto cha ninga tap ane ko ta ta ka ba to hota to ki mawa ninga ta ne pahat ma yoga ne pahat aga ta ma do su وسوزك يقول تكابيب تشبذك نبي كان مستحيل نبي تشبذك سيجي سوا ويساكي جاك Gaan niin tauoja. Nyt tässä pitää skeka. Kattake se päättää. Skeka se tiipaa täällä siemensä. Se me tekee stomach. Se me tekee stomach with sen. Me tuotti tuusista ja. Jiityt. Ja kähtä pitää päättää hauva. Kuita se skoak. Ja voi tehdä se. Me tuotti tuusista ja. Niin kuin niin kuin tää. Sitten hauva. Amilla. Me tuotti. Kimmettäneen. Muistieten tässä pitää käskemässä suikaa käsittääkin tuossa tehnyt mitä uusi. Mä miehtot, eiköhän niin kuin tämä possapa rihuakin kuin tämä. Kinnoheespi mä hukuak miehtot ehkä. Tätä on epävä, kun säkin säkää kiskessä. No mäkin jo äskenkin pitääkin, tämä on tosi äsken. On jäkin se pitää äsken. Niin kuin voittapa siskoa kähki tää pättämään, kun tehtiin sua. No mä miskä mä käskein, kun tehtiin sua. No niin kuin tämä. No vaan ei tehtämäkin, kun minä olen kuutta. Tanssimäkin teki tuttumäk. Joo, missä hyvä. Ootitapa kauan tämän kuukiitkin nähdään kun äsken. Ainakaan niitä kuukiita. Nyt on niitä kuukan. Käytyyti saa tämän ämeskä. Aha, kiitos kuuki ämeskän simes. Joo, niikaa ämeskäs. Menkää kuukiita. Into nähkäskin. Tännekin nyt sisäjau. Tämän piik. Tätä ei käppiä kun piipälti. Ei neppä tiedä. Pääskät, kun se tiedä nyt. Ne ei säkin saa siemensä, mikä vähän puhutaan tiu. Niinkaan ne kehtaa mit määtsi hieltä huutaa. Ämesko. Hui niinko? Näin on niitä kukaan. Kehtyy tavan maaka. Niinkaan niinko, että uistan maaka kääkokit. No olisiko ne on siis tämän piikajau. Pidätty ei puhu uista käppiä. Käppiä, piikopiit. Ennen petä. Ja ne on siemensä säkin saa. Ipä puhutaan täältä. Niinkaan niin kuin tämä, että mä tiedän kehtaa pääsee mistä tehkä. Oi niinko? Ne kekityt. Niitä kukaan. Niitä on ne kek. Ja ne kuukin on ne kek. Äspen. Tännekin ne on siis pihuuta. Kuissakin se on sinussa. Ja tämä piikapita on ne kek. Mistä päävit. Kun ne on sinussa. Kuissakin se ei ole puhutaan tiu. Hei. Kehtaa määtsi hiu. Hei, mutta näitä on vaan niitä ehtämäkin. Niin ei saa olla. No en eikä voi johtiit. Niin ei saa olla jatkoskin. Niitä kukaan. Kiityi tauissa jatkos. Hei, käppää pehkot. Voi saana, kun saa miepä sisse, että hoitaa. Tää voi niitä kukaan. Kiityi tauissa jatkos. Niin meikä, niin siihen myös mahti isä. Kielä kun tsihtaa. Niin aina vatsas, kun sä menkää kukiit. Niin on voittaa pihuak. Ja sua magic. Tännekin nyt siis pihuak. Kiitos, eikä piitä hoitaa. Mutta joskus muista, niissä eikä mistään päivät. Mutta ne on siimessä, missä hitsäk. Ja kaikki täp meu. Vau, sekin saa äskeä, miskä. Niin on missä hitsäk, kun on ottanut äskeä. Tästä on mistä teki, kun puhutaan tius siimessä. Hau. Kiitos, mä tiedän. Hän siemens. Hän siis äskeä pitää. Kiitos tangoakin, kun tämmöiskin näitä. Ja ainakin tangoakin ottamista. Mutta joskus. Ja nyt tännekin on siis käymätiin pihutsek. Käppiä mennä hoitamaan. Mutta joskus sinne sitä päivää. Mä menen uissakin, kun ne on. Niin, että häpätty tehtiissä. Että mennä mistä hiesas keesti. Niin kuin aina kun tautnan. Mä tekin häpäs piekua. Siemessä näin. Kiitos. Puhutaan teille. Mä tiedän. Kiitos. Siemessä. Koki. Ja mennä koki hoitamaan. Mutta joskus. Niin aina vastaa puhak. Kiitos. Eikä pitää olla joskus. Eikä mennä uissakin, kun neuvo. Eikä mennä. Mutta siis ehkä. Appilalle astiva. Äsken. Eikä mennä kun tästä on. Eikä puhutaan tiu. Eikä ne. Eikä tämä. Mä tiedän kiitos. Kannatkin piekkaa kievät. Niin siimihetty. Ja ainakin. Tämä on mutta joskus. Kuukiu. Tännekin nuesk. Nuesk pihuak. Ja tehdään piikapit. Tämä ne pitää hoitaa. Mutta joskus. Kun minä olin saakin sitä, kun ne on siimissä. Mutta siis rikotsen nousemista he äsken. Mutta mikä ne pitää sitä. No ne. Ketään puhutaan täältä. It match how seems. I've got the work. I check it. I know. Same as. Tiene que ver. Can ask him to need that the manusky. I'm asking. She had done a mask. Niga at the Papagam Ham, that put attack me and the man tasky. Papagam Ham, Niga Mina, can't be with you with a misk, or so you have a cheat tag, the Pagam Hakaski. Then yet them is sad, they get down again. Again, be my hogo check, you go to ask it, them is sad. Then it's good guy so habitic. Ik say, is een sad. Ik ga niet, we zeggen dat ik het tak. Boy, to go. Ik ga te go, nee, de gok. Ik zou om moeten. Aske. Ik ga zien met hem heen kan. Kijk, ik ga maatje had je zo. Het deel. Wat waarschijnlijk bij maar die zit is goed in zeggen moeten. Aske, kijk dit. Ik ga na, katje bij de auto. Maar hij kan, moet ik in, dus als ik het thuis zeg, ja, we schieten met zijn tijd nodig. Ik ga een keer hebben het papier, maar ook als ik het met zijn. Ik ga het zou moeten masken. Ik ga een keer thuis hebben het heel, we zien me zo, maar hij kan, we zeggen het ook. Ik ga een kortje bij het maar hij kan. Dan kan je zien, zeg maar. Dat. Maar dan moet je, dan te beginnen te gisteren, gaan we het thuis zeggen. Ja, we schieten met zijn. Ja, en ik heb het ook maar schieten ook. Ik ga net niet meer zo moeten asken. Maar ik ga ze weer buiten. Ik ga net ze weer buiten. Maar hij kan. Die neus behoort. Maar je hoeft het thuis nou. Maar hij kan. Ik ga ze ook naar hier ook met zo moeten. Asken, ik deed het maar ik doe het ze weer stevig. Goed dan. We zeggen het ik ga precies goed. Ja, maar mij ik kom op een goed schouw. Goed. In was kapag that is kick. A long time ago, Wisakijak heard that his younger brother, the wolf, had disappeared, and so he went looking for him. And so he looked, and then he finally came upon an eagle sitting on a branch of a tree, looking out into the ocean. And Wisakijak says, oops, what are you doing, younger brother? Oh, I'm looking at the seals over there playing with a wolf pelt. Wisakijak knew that this was his younger brother. So he decides to go out to the island. He swam out there and disguised himself as a tree. And the seals all look around and look at this tree. It wasn't there before, so they wondered what in the world is going on here. So they continued playing with the wolf pelt and eventually got tired, so they went to sleep. And that night, when everyone was asleep, Wisakijak went back to his original form, and started stabbing all the seals and killing most of them. And he even stabbed at the king of the seals and severely wounded him when he grabbed the wolf pelt and ran back to the mainland and brought his brother back to life. And then he said, I told you not to go into the water. Now go. And off he goes. And he wanders around. And he walking along when he saw a frog. I'm on my way to conjure. I'm on my way to conjure. I'm on my way to conjure. Hey, Gemma, what are you doing? Oh, get away from me. Wisakijak has killed most of the seals and severely wounded the king of the seals. So I'm on my way to heal the king of the seals. I'm the only one who can do that. Oh, really? Well, now, what do you do when you heal? So the frog told Wisakijak what she does when she heals. As soon as she revealed all her secrets, Wisakijak killed the frog, skinned it, and put that frog skin over himself, and continued on. I'm on my way to conjure. I'm on my way to conjure. And goes to where the seals are. And they're all surrounding the king of the seals, who was severely wounded. And Wisakijak enters the lodge and says, "Everybody out! I have to be alone when I'm doing healing ceremony." Off they went outside. As soon as they all left, Wissahickon grabbed a spear and stabbed the king of the seals and killed him. And, but from this tip, from the king of the seals' tail, water started sprouting. Lots and lots of water started sprouting, and Wissahickon realized it was going to be flooding, so he ran to where, back to the land, and grabbing the wolf pelt along the way, and ran to the mainland, and called everybody, "Younger siblings, come on, help me make a raft." So they all came running to Wissahickon, and they all worked together to make a raft. And just as the world was covered in water, they'd finished the raft, and they all jumped into the raft, and they were floating around. For days they were floating around, and then Wissahickon said, "Did anybody bring land?" And all the creatures looked at their tail, at their paws and their hoofs, and that was but nobody brought any land with them. So they were really, really worried. And so Wissahickon said, "Well, one of you is going to have to dive and go down and get some land." And so, who wants to go first? And the beaver said, "Me, I know how to dive. I'm a good diver." And off he goes down into the water. He stays there for a long time. And they waited around looking for him. And he pops up dead. And so Wissahickon pulled him out and blew on him and brought him back to life. And then he says, "Now who? Who next?" You done your double gun." Me, I'm a good diver," said Loon. And so he goes and dives right into the water. And they wait for a long time. But eventually he too pops up and he's dead. So Wissahickon picks him up, blows on him to bring him back to life, and sets him back on the raft. "We need somebody else to go." And the otter says, "Me, I'm a good diver. I could go down to get the water." Off he goes into the water and stays down there for a long time. But he too pops up dead. And Wissahickon picks him up, blows on him, brings him back to life, and sets him down. "Oh boy, who next?" he says. "I can go. I'm a good diver," said the little muskrat. Everybody burst out laughing because he's so little. How can he possibly be of any use here? "Yeah, I'm a good diver. I can go." And Wissahickon says, "Okay, Seamus, go ahead." Off he goes. On the muskrat goes into the water. And everybody waits for the longest time. No sign of the muskrat. Eventually, he pops up, dead, like the rest. Wissahickon picks him out. And just before he blows on him, he checks his paws. And just because the muskrat had a little bit of dirt on his paws. So Wissahickon picked out the dirt and sets it aside of the raft. And he blows on him and brings him back to life. And he tells him, "Okay, younger sibling, go again. You did good. Go. We need more land, so you have to go down again." So the muskrat dove right in there again. And again they waited for the longest time. And waited and waited and waited. And then he pops up. Once again, he's dead. And Wissahickon pulls him out, checks his paws, and there's more dirt. And so he puts that aside and blows on the muskrat and gives him back to life. "Okay, we need more dirt. You have to go." So off he goes. And he now dives in again. And this time he stays down for the longest time. Long time. And then he pops up. This time he's dead. Again, he's dead. So Wissahickon pulled him out, checks his paws, more dirt in there. But it's not enough. So he blows on him, brings him back to life. And so, "Piegagedge, one more time." And the muskrat goes, right in there. And they wait for a long time. Yet so up magic, looking for him. Eventually he pops up dead again. And Wissahickon pulls him out and checks his paws. And there's more dirt in there, and they put it aside. And blows on him, and once again brings him back to life. And so they have enough dirt to work with. So Wissahickon says, "Okay, I'm going to start pounding on the earth and make it bigger and bigger and bigger." And the beaver comes over and helps with his tail. They start pounding on the earth, and the earth got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until on the horizon, they goes to the horizon, thinking that it's big enough. So Wisaki asked his younger brother, the wolf, to start running, see how big it is. So the wolf took off and ran and ran and ran, but he was back within a day. And he said, "We need more water. We need more land. We need to make it bigger." So they worked on some more beaver, and everybody else pounding on this earth to make it bigger, and they can make it big. And once again, they send Wisaki, a younger brother, out to go check out the land. He comes back in 2 days. We need to make it bigger. Okay, so they made it more and more bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And once again, Wisaki sends his little brother out to go and get the land. And this time it takes 3 days to come back. So they make some more. They make that bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And finally, they said to the wolf, "Okay, go on and see if the land is big enough." So they waited and they waited and they waited for days and days. And finally, they said, "I think the land is big enough." So they all dispersed and went on their separate ways. And to this day, the wolf is still running around trying to see how big the island is. He's still out there somewhere. Are you still seeing me? All right, we can go. So that's the story of the flood. Oh, so Wisaki-Jack. Hei, kun siitä Wisaki-Jack vähän mohtii, mitä minä. Ei minä sen mohtii, kattiu. Ja ne, se vähän mohtii. Vassakaan missä, eikä higaneek. Ja huot määt niska. Niin kuin sisipä. Joka muutet, säikä higaneekki, kun tauhutse. Ja vai, hettyy. Kiva emäkä. Smäga mäkin teki sinne vähän aikaa sisipä, eikä niskakin tietysti. Näet kuitenkin joitakin kuspet. Mäski kohta kohtiit. Ai, kun se ne kituutiin, jotta nämä siis askia, niin kuin teijä suotaa tuomaskin muuttiikin. Niin kuin tässä puhuttiin viikkaamiin, ei näissä piit. No niin kuin teipä muuttiit. Sitä ei voi käppiskää, niin kuin niska. Hei, siis nauona. Kiva ei muuta, kiva ei tuimata kuitsemataan. Visäki kai muuttiin. Se voi muuttiin, visäki hakittaa pikai pipittävät. Sitten sekin kai muuttiin. Ei, muuttiin, visäki hakittaa pikai pipittävät. Sitten sekin kai muuttiin. No niin, se voi muuttiin, visäki. Sitten sekin kai muuttiin. Tämä voi kikoskymmen simes vahvaa. Niin mun nauho, kiksen niin mun muotian. Täkä sekin ainakin nimiltä, täkian, nimi täkian. Ei, nimi hyttu. Stuck on the word. Nimi täkian, nimi hyttuan. Speed, mä niitä voiane. Joskin niin mun kiksen niin mun. Mä tiedän, nega muista enää, siisi. No maas pakantaa negakin nega mano uutta pakantita. Uusita puu, kitusista muin migua, että kita pihtokissa muin. Minä kita sokapissa muin pääsket, pihtokissa muin. Kita sääsäk. Skahtiin mitä uusika kita pihtokissa muin. Niin saa. Niin saa. Kiitos. Kiitos. Eikö se näkään tuuttiin nämä? Täpui. Eikö se sitä näin, mikä vahvittaa, että pihtokissa muokki. Mutta tämä on töitä mitä kita muista muijahka. Ja niin saa tiu sista vaan muuta mikä on. Ja niin että tässä supiika hiu. Ja piti sisä, että käyn hoi sitä se mikä on. Ja saa se supiika hiu hota. Piti sisä. Saak. Maar wacht, hij snauwt het nooit. Ik dacht, hij had zaken zijn had. Uspiskonek. Wapska si hat uspiskonek gumela ukoyak mina. That's good. I got he was the key guy. He got him Scott happy hat. Him Scott happy hat. He go with a niska. He got that. Uta. Astau. He was scalik. Ukoyak. The wapska si hat. He's just a big hat. He got that. He go with it. You know, we see he was house to one hat. He go. He can see hat that. Utak. Me go na. The nana exalma. With an hours work. He was not kissing. I was check up this. He's second or check speed. Now we say he's a big hat. Hey, go on, get that the way. Come up to tipo chico. Nigga, sit down on me go. Nigga, a scale. Bist to get that. Bist to get the way we say Jack. Go to Naman hand. Kagi, what that. He could tell you skip it. Yes, that he do skip it. You got that. Det vi her giver. Beskabelse må ven, bitu den. Beskabelse må ven, bitu den. Jeg går ud der. Det skal jeg sige bak bitu gisse må. Hvad skal jeg beskabelse? I nemme helt tjek. Jeg siger det var skal sige må tjek. Jeg går nu sagt en anden kan mot. Jeg gik der vi man har nat bæk. The sky, you wait in that. I got the quick skin, it gets to me there. They sweep that must come out there. Yeah, check what name it to go CC Betty on the skek. The man was taking that out in the mass. They kids could be in that and had Niska. I got to make the name that this, but then never hear who done the sky. CC, but get that the way out of Siki, Gaki Mutabit be a ski to go to. Ja, me we say it's our guitar and we salute. You know what a table. What the passing? It's like the passing. We say it's a one getting a bag now. You never know what the be. But we bat out this here on the skunk. You out of sea square with the got the what we bat out. You never know we say it's a cat. That is cat out. So gonna get that. Then I know it's. Ja, but so that she mask so got watching a shit that the skek the mortit. It's okay, so we like a sky with we like a chakra. Nega, that horse. That's the way it is. We like it. Once we like it, was walking along. When he came upon flocks of geese and flocks of ducks. Floating along the water on the shore of the lake, near the shore of the lake. And so he looks at them and says, how in the world am I going to kill these so I would eat? And so he had an idea. So he goes into the woods and comes upon a muskeg. And he says, that's skin these moss, this moss, I will use this moss, he says. And so he picks up a whole bunch of moss and puts it into his bag and forces a bag over his shoulder and continues walking and goes back to the shore of the lake and walks along this. And sure enough, the birds, curious like anybody else, see we Jack and say, I wonder what our older brother is carrying. Let's ask him. Hey, older brother, what are you carrying? And we Jack just goes along, just walks along, pretending not to hear what the guy was saying. And says, oh, let's ask him again. Hey, Wisaki Jack, not done. What are you carrying? And so Wisaki Jack keeps going, just ignore it, pretending not to hear. Wisaki Jack, not done. He continues walking. And finally the goose hollers, Wisaki Jack, older brother, what are you carrying? Oh, you startled me. My goodness. Oh, I'm carrying new songs. Last year I said I'd give a dance if I gave new songs. If I was given new songs, and just recently I got new songs. I got gifted new songs. These are sacred songs. Oh, sing it to them. Sing the songs for us. And he said, I can't sing just anywhere. These are sacred songs. You'll need to build me a lodge with one tiny opening. And when I start singing, you guys have to agree to come and dance inside the lodge with your eyes closed. Can you do that? yeah, I guess we could do that. We could do that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so they start building the lodge, and meanwhile, we Saggy Jack sits around and starts painting all the birds and gives them the colours that they have today. You know, the loon with a speckled back and a nice ring around the neck, and red eyes. That's what the loon ended up getting, and the goose gets painted white on the other side of his neck like that, and that's really neat. It looks beautiful that way. And the pintail itself, it gets a brown head and long tail feathers, and everything. How we see the birds today is how we Saskatchewan Jack painted them back in those days. And the lodge is built. So we Saskatchewan Jack enters the lodge, takes out the moss out of his bag, puts them so he could sit on them, and he starts singing. Should I dance a bring? Should I dance a bring? And the geese and the ducks, they all come dancing inside the lodge with their eyes closed, just bopping along. And we Saskatchewan continues singing. Every now and then he sees a nice fat duck, and he grabs one, wrings its neck, throws it in the bag, and he keeps on singing. Nice fat goose, he grabs it, wrings its neck, throws it in the bag. And away he goes, and just keeps on dancing, continues. But he kept grabbing a goose or a duck. And pretty soon he got lots of ducks. Eventually, this one curious mud hen peeked with one eye and saw what Usagi Jack was doing. Oh, sounds the alarm. Brothers, sisters, run! Usagi Jack is killing us all. So everybody starts running out of the lodge, and the mud hen was the last one out. And Usagi Jack gave it a nice swift kick in the rear end and crippled it. And to this day, the mud hen still waddles when he walks and has a hard time walking on land. So we Usagi Jack and the Bahu, we cheat CC by Goniska. Don't have to go the wheel. Very good. I didn't know what cheat and hand him. Niska, because he's here. Let me cheat see by this good take. That's good. He beat that sky get the good. Scat some money. He be with the way you could talk to Tawanek. No, you go say so. You say, I mean, I was a Usagi Jack. That the way got beat the off the told them. Mackie says. Beat the go dit. That's good in mask sick. It's to scatter på him. He mot där git. Men eget till mig när jag sett. Vi säkert att gå upp med och se mig så. Hej, Mackie says. Matte, det är skit men måste ha något. Matte. Kika må ni skatta något att säga hin sig sig. Det går det var ska nej bättre. Men den stanka god dag det må ju hota sig sig på ganska. Må ni gå sitta där bättre. Du kan inte nå men skatt. Tiska simis. Ni kan upp där was ni. Stick. Ni går där. Ni kan inte skita det så kan ni bättre. Matan tiska. Det var inte så sig på ganska. How my god do. Mackie says. I go on it. Daar heb ik det was sneer. We zeggen dat skaat dik. En ik ga dat zo bij bad ook. Dan dan wordt dan Mackie says. En sto skaat dat we hebben het dat ik het bad dat. Mackie dat ik ga zo voor kijken ziet dat we zeggen dat de meer schaat. Ik ga dat het we bad dat ik ga was. Ga zo we bad dat doet dat. Zeg ik. Ik ga dat dan is ka. Outa Mackie says. Puhani kun käy kutavan ekspertau neuskatau sen muata puisa mun sa pugi usti maskisu miksi se hatu sakitsa ko ina ne kutta atte mamit so higit tamato hota sisi bai koneska ni käy start uskatsa is good dick taps good ke abdigi so ni ka chapatau ni kis vi atjabugi patau sakitsa ko wasagam was cast like a higaneki to deletum. Ni gas some mountain seams. It's bit to go back down and the got it's come Kom hawak sisi bak huistak tam hiç kete tam. Ya ne kadar da bu bahta bez. Tak kage ben hawasut ki bir şey koyup çelik. Ya ne what ne what namis uskats. Hey namaki ko ayo ta uskan pago. No me na ko chipetam no me na lagi why uskan pago. Ya ne ka kita ko chipetam uskat. Ah, mä skäsin mistä skysytsäkin tuoga. Tää pistää vaat. Oho, näki sisäimät pähpevät. Ei mä chais. Nyt niinkin tämä adisa. Neska, niin kuin meidän sisivä. Nyt siiska, niin vähän mä on kauheittu. Ja niin kuin tää. Se puhuttiin, niin käikin just niitsut. Sitä toika vaat mät. Näki sisä, hinne päätöt. Kyllä niin kuin tämäkin teet. Mulla siinä niin kuin ne pähänahti. Lekuttavaa nuos käyttäkään ne päät. Niin kuin tämä. Mistä äsken se teet, että muista hitsaa. No niin kuin tämä. Puuna, kuas käyttäkään ne päät. Tämäkin sisä. Niin koskapa tuu. Mäkin siis. Ei pähpo. Niin kuin tämä ne kasvottu. Ja sellainen kasvot, että iskutteek. Mutta äsken what chihpit. Ja ne kasvot pähpet lähdetään. Mäkin siis. So Isaki Jack had a lot of ducks and geese that he had killed. So he prepared a campfire. Some of the geese he roasted on the spit, and other geese and the ducks he put under the ashes with 8 legs sticking out along that way. That way he sort of made an oven for himself in the old-fashioned way, wrapping around in leaves and under the ashes. They went, and off he just sits around waiting for them to cook when he sees this fox. The fox had a crippled leg, and he was just limping along, and Wisaki Jack saw him. And Wisaki Jack says, "Hey, younger sibling, come on over. I'll share my food with you if we race. We'll see who wins the race, and whoever wins the race will eat the food." And the fox says, "No, I got a crippled leg. I can't run." "Oh, he's going to see me. Just wait, younger sibling. I'll tie a rock to my leg. That way I'll be really slow. Maybe you'll win." So Wisaki Jack ties a rock to his leg, and they set off. And Mackie leads the way very briefly, and then Wisaki Jack catches up to him and gets beyond him and goes around the bush, around the lake. And as soon as he's out of sight, the fox went on all 4 legs and ran to the fire and started eating all the ducks and the geese and he puts the legs back into the ashes as if they're still cooking in there, and he takes off. And Wisaki Jack's still running around the lake, and he thinks, and he comes to the where he is cooking the guys and the geese, and he thinks, I'm going to share some of my food with the fox when he comes in, because he's such a good sport. And then he noticed a fire, and the geese that he has put on the spit were all gone. So he thought that they burned up, and so, but he figures that the geese under the ashes were still good. So he pulls out a leg, and there was nothing but bone. Pulls out another leg, and nothing but bone. Another leg, nothing but bone. And my God, and he hears the fox in the distance laughing. Damn fox, I'm going to get him for that, he said. A few days later, he was walking along when he saw him, came upon the fox sleeping. And he thought, I'm going to get him now, he said. Let's see. Killing him right away won't be any good, so I'll just go ahead and build a fire around him. And so he built a fire thing around the fox. And the fire is going really good. And the fox wakes up. And he looks at the fire, and he jumps way over the fire, over the flames, because he's a really good jumper. And he takes off into the forest, laughing. I haven't played tricks on on we Saki Jack. Ego se we Saki Jack at Sibu. Ego. Sitä toivoa minun maskua. Maskua, you menedet. You made salt. I said, what can I help you? Don't see anything in the power, maskua did it. Oh, we Saki Jack. That's a Sibu. Kita tega wa päättääk, missä kiminä. Ego ta, mutta muissa kiminä, ego pääskin nämä skitsego. Ego mä näkään pääskin nämä skitsego, kaps se pui päättä. Mutta niin se pui pääpät. Eikä se tähän skotsi muutsi kestää. Ja ne teki tähtöä eikä kun skittää, kun maska. Ja maska pituhtit. Ei, sitä on sun mitään, mä kysyn. Hei, skotsin simi, mutta minä saa ottaa. Pääskin näkään skitsego, skotsin. Tekiikö me tämä ätsihan? Ei vaan niissä nämä uuttamassa, kun vissakin mitä, eikö pääskin nämä skitsua. Ja, tanssa mitään, täältä mikä. On se minun saamista, ei niissä täpät siitä. Siskokin näyttää uuden, uudestaan, snek. Kestikaan, niin kuin näyttää uuden. Ja nyt tämmöistä, kun taustikaan snekki, kun tämä. Niin kuin vissakin saa, kun tämä. Kuttakaa häsneä, eikö? Päkämistukaan niin huutamassa, kun hiidin päät. Enkä eikä päässyt. Niin otti, että tämä on mahdollista, että tämä suontuu. Kannattaa täältä, kun kuttaa ihmisiä suihka suohtuu huutaa. Maskoa, eikö tämä? Tänä on siitä huutamassa. Niin ei saa vaappa miu. Vaskoja, vastaviis. Se on kaikki. Päästään simmitek, piimitsimminek. Ja käydään pakitnik, että mä ei kohtakin ahtiikä tiedä. Ne kun tämä uoskoppi tuhti jokin, mitsi minä näet, kun säkin saa vaikuta. Ne kun tämä ahtiu. Siinä säkin saa mennä matka sihtää. Niin kun tämä pakit niikä muhtiikä tiedä. No niissä. Tätä ikä vaan määt. Lapsikin äskussa. Eikä tämä mikot. Hei, what's my choice? Mä kävin näkemään tauista mua. Siskua, kun ei mennä osuak. Hei, mä saa poikasikin osti siitä, että mä pystykin käskääkis. Niin vähän niin kuin tässä viipitään tauista mua, siskua. Ei mennä osuak, jos siis suava. Ja niin pitsi päättää vaan siskua. Ei mua se kohta. Voi saakin saako mennä osuak. Ei, kun se, voi saakin sekin jokin. Sitten kun paljon hoitaa, kun tuossa mä en matka siittää. Mä pitäisikö siittää. Mä en saa se. Kitta mä ottaa maskua. Ei vaan ne. Nyt on näitä niipissiä. Ei näin nyt sihäty huuta uskoja. Taas kätsä itse asiassa. Nyt kun vakiisikin suahikut. Ei vaan ne. Hän oskii sanaa koska koko uskoja. Ei kun tehdä kohtse. Kiinni uutse hikutse. Vissakin tsaskua. Wow. Niin se kävis. Mä kävin nohtiikat jo teessä pyhtiit. Was actually walking along when he saw a bear eating berries a little ways away, and so he thought, might be good to eat. I wonder how I could kill it, he thought. So he looks around and he sees some cranberries, and so he picks up some cranberries and breaks them over his eyes, and last whenever he does that. Eventually the bear hears him, and the bear comes over. Hey, older brother, what are you doing? Hey, and see, Mr. Gucci, basking him now what means kissigo. If you break these berries into your eyes, you will be feeling very, very euphoric, very nice. Try it. So the bear took a couple of handfuls of these berries and breaks them over his eyes. And oh, the pain he felt was so intense. He said, "Oh, what did you do to me? What happened? Oh, my younger sibling, you took too many berries. Here, put your head on the rock here. I'll chew you. I'll make sure you do okay." So the bear puts his head on the rock, and Wisaki just picks up another rock and slams it over the bear's head, killing it. And so Wissahickok was able to kill the bear. So he built a fire and makes a large spit for them to get the bear whole in one whole piece, and so he's just going ahead and lets it cook on its own, and sits back and looks around and sees some birch trees just a little ways away. He says, "Oh, I think I'll get them to hold me until I get really, 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 really hungry." And so he calls the birch trees over and see me, Dick, younger siblings, hold me and hold me tight, and don't let me go until I'm really, really, really hungry. And the birch trees came over and just held him tight, and he can't get out of the hall like that. And then a little while later, a magpie comes along and looks at Wissahickok. And Wissahickok looks at the magpie and says, "You little devil, you're probably going to tell everybody that I have something cooking here. You better not." Well, the magpie never even thought of that, but he thought it was a good idea. So off he flew and told everybody in the forest that Wissahickok was cooking a bear over here and that they could come off for a feast. So all the animals came running out of the forest and started eating the bear and eating it all, leaving nothing for Wissahickok. And Wissahickok tried to get loose, but he wasn't hungry, so the bush trees kept hanging on to him and just tries to be free. Finally, he breaks free and he goes over and gets a willow switch, and starts whipping the trees really hard back and forth like that. And to this day, you can see the way the birch trees are like that, as if they've been whipped. That's because of that day. Wissahickok got mad at them, whipping them. And the birch trees have those whipping marks on their bark. All right, it's 8 o'clock, and I think that's going to be good enough for now. Or shall we go on? You want to hear about Wissahickok and the week to go? I think we have time for one more. I think I will. I'm going to tell the story. Biewawi so Wissahickok motiu. Kita tawigawa madwistigo wasagaki matuyabu. Ngayon, nagkisis ka kaso paliho. Ngayon, nagawis, wistigo. Paso. Wissahickok, kapasutan. Austan. No, saan mo Wissahickok, mayaw, wistigo piskas. Osita pogitan tuhtaman. Ngayon, ito Wissahickok sa wistigo. Natiu, ito wistigo ay imatod. Nimi oikeasti sutiisa. Wissahickok, kuuka, toi, no, näytselehtiö, jukuta, uhta. Kita minä vastutan, kita muutaan. Niin kuin Wissahickok näytselehtiö, mehtä ja auttaa. Kita mikä on mä sihkussa. Ahtam, sims ahtam. Kiikoi. Sihkussa on kiityit. Kiikin lähniitiu. Vittiko. No, tiimu huitona mahtinto. Toi pystyi jähtoi juttuun ja hiuta uusiksi toi paskamat pistäjäk. So okei. Mä voin tehdä tämän. Mä voin näin, kun mä tapaan vaan työllä. Kia. Se on kiitos mä siirryn tuo Wissahickok. Mikä on niissä? Mikä tää kohtsipaa tavoitus siikos. Mitä piättiä hyöttyy ei tuitti kuin juttuun eikä kun kohtaskaksi niin tähtä voitteko tein paskahtaak. Otaksi jääpiä hauta. Voitteko? Niin täpäs mä oon mutta voitteko? Wissahickok pannuutteko tanumaa? Ja niin Wissahickok kätsipaa siikos. Niin tähtäkö mä että otaksi jääpiä tähtyy poika päksi kautta. Voitteko? Innepet. Ja tapaan bagi tyypänä mistä hauta Wissahickok kohtsipahtaa. Inatsipahtaa näitä. Ne häntä vittikoa. Mä saat missä viska mikä niin kuin teet punaista mieu. Vittikoa mieu. Niin kuin neu simsa sikussa. Niin kuin punainen. Toi tuhtahat. Sai hiikan ehkin toi siipiikin näet. go back put that. And I got down, see picking that, think you know, you see picking that, get that the way go, get that the way go. Ja, Mats tavat sihkos, niin kuin, ja hän käken aamisot, niin pihk. Tuni waasi soti se wapska se tavat sihkos, niin kuin utsus sihkan täytyy ainakin takaa kemitsi minne kun tuissa hitsava, niin kuin takas tiisu, niin se kääpät näysuun antaa sihkos. Myös kaikissa käken. Wisaki was walking along when he came upon a Wichtigo, which was a cannibal, and so he hid right away because he didn't want the cannibal to eat him, and so he hid behind the bushes, and the Wichtigo was sniffing the air, and he smells Wisaki Jack, and he hollers, "Wisaki Jack, I can smell you. Come here." And be it known that once a Wichtigo talks to you, you have to listen to what they say. So Wisaki Jack comes out of the bush and crying because he didn't want to die. And so the Wichtigo says, "Wisaki Jack, go get some firewood. I'm going to cook you over the fire." And Wisaki Jack goes over and starts picking up firewood, puts it into his arms, and just crying as they go along because he didn't want to die. And when he suddenly saw a weasel in her mouth, and he said, "Hey, younger brother, come here. I got something for you. See over there, the Wichtigo." And the weasel looks over and says, "Yeah, go over there, jump into his mouth, and go down to his throat and down to his stomach and start gnawing away at his intestines to kill it." "I'll drown," said the weasel. "Oh, it's okay. I'll bring you back to life, and I'll give you the grandest coat anybody has ever had." "Well, okay." Off he goes. And the weasel ran over to the Wichtigo and jumps into its mouth and crawls down his throat and down to his tummy and starts gnawing away at his intestines. And the Wichtigo is really thinking he's got hunger pains. So he says, "Hurry up, I'm really hungry." And the weasel just continued gnawing on his intestines. And all of a sudden, the Wichtigo fell down dead. And Wisaki ran over to it and cut him up, and throwing all the body parts into the fire, because that's the only way you could destroy a Wichtigo, is to burn him up, and puts the body parts into the fire and takes his younger brother and the weasel down to the lake and starts washing him over and over and hanging on to his tail and like that, and blowing on him every now and then, and washing him and washing him and washing him and washing him and washing him. And eventually, the weasel comes alive. "Okay, where's my grand coat?" He says to Wisaki Jack. And Wisaki Jack says, "Look at yourself in the water." And the weasel looked at himself in the water. And sure enough, he was just absolutely beautiful. He has a white, shiny coat. And at the tip of his tail, it was black. This was where Wisaki Jack had held him while he was washing him. And that's the truth. Thank you for coming and joining me at this event. Thank you so much. That's it for now. Is anybody there? Okay, so that's cool. Thank you for that, Aaron. You can ask him at 9 for that stuff. Okay, so that's good. I am now ending the live video. Okay, may we meet again next solstice, winter solstice, that is. Bye.
Aha, nananasko mau kimusumno ay kap matsamustago ya kanuts anutska tipskag omaya ka mamotse kino tipskag the longest night. I done so my shortest day ka mautse Jimase gisagag. E teta man. Mia sinai hai. Nanas kumun Solomon. Awa. Ai nistuapo neo atsumone pe atsumustago yak. Mitni mia sin. Mitni mi tain mina. Anut segwai. Like to thank you for tuning in tonight, and we'll do a couple more lives this week. If you're tuned in on my platform, we will be reading again tomorrow, and we'll go for 3 more nights from the solstice. So we'll just pick some stories and read. We'll fire up at the same time tomorrow, 6 p.m. Pacific, and we'll go from there. So we're going to leave it at that tonight. Once again, thanks to Solomon and everybody else who tuned in tonight. Okay, and if you can catch the recording on YouTube if you missed it tonight, if you go and find that, we'll have the live streams up on there. You can go find them. Okay, everybody, have a great night. ¿Cómo estás?